CTD.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Connect the Dots. This one's going to be pretty chill. We actually have lined up a bunch of awesome TikTok videos.
Sweet.
Honestly, before we started doing the podcast, I didn't really use TikTok all that much, but now I find myself on there all the time, finding crazy videos. So that's what today's episode is going to be, is we're going to bring you guys some of our favorite recent TikTok videos that we found that's going to dive into a lot of different topics as far as conspiracy theories go. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into these videos, and then we're going to talk about them a little bit, give you our opinion, and hopefully, open up some fun topics and some things that maybe you guys haven't seen.
Well, what's crazy about the TikTok stuff is, all of our other, social media things are owned and controlled by America. And TikTok isn't. So a lot of things that quickly get banned and swept under the rug don't get as quickly caught and erased. And it can, exist on TikTok for a lot longer until they get it and, shut it down. So
Right.
That's where I feel like the aliens at that Florida mall, TikTok had it everywhere. The other social medias didn't,
nuts too,
because they got shut down so quickly. But TikTok,
I get scared.
was on
I get
it.
scared though, because then it's like, well, the Chinese can control us through TikTok. So I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
See,
they could delete stuff, take it down if they wanted to. But
here's my 2 cents on the whole TikTok thing. You basically have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Those are probably the top ones I can think of right now. All of them are American companies that are basically being censored in a way, right?
Yeah.
You have disclaimers that pop up on videos. You have different things that videos that get removed and stuff. We've had that happen on our own social media for the podcast, where we've posted shorts and stuff and had it removed because of misinformation.
Yeah.
But TikTok is, in my opinion, the only platform, which I think is going to change soon.
I think it will too, because they have X amount of months to abide by it.
Because Congress came out and was like, hey, we don't like that we don't have control over TikTok. That's what it really was about.
It was just so stupid.
And then they essentially just said, hey, either abide by our rules or we're going to kick you off of America's platform, essentially, on Apple and Google phones, so people can't even download it. And so, I don't know. My 2 cents is TikTok's the one I'm gotta fight to keep it, because there's so much good content on there that's not being watered down, censored, and removed, where we can get in and get good information. And I don't know, and even just even if it's not true, just go down the rabbit hole and be able to decide for ourselves.
Fun. Yeah, it's still fun.
You know what I mean? Because I feel that's what big social media companies like Facebook
like flat Earth stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
even if it's not true, it's fun to watch.
Yeah. The
if you
true
spent more
Hollywood
time on TikTok, you probably would.
I will say
realize
there's some
that
stuff
it's
on there
flat.
where I'm questioning my own reality, man. I look outside at the moon and I'm trying to see if I can see it better than I have in the previous 50 years. Maybe I can see. Maybe I can see the rivets.
Yeah. Sometimes you can see stars behind the moon, which how can you see through the moon?
They really blow my mind all the time. What do you mean see stars behind the moon?
So people have shown videos and pictures of the moon that's a crescent, but part of where the moon should be, it's the same color as the sky behind it, and they've even done shown planets behind it. So they're saying
What?
like,
So it's literally like from the
moon.
cartoons where they hang up like a crescent.
yeah, and then you can see through it. So then it's like, is
Never know.
the moon dipping into like water, right? So then, but yeah.
Interesting. The water thing is interesting too. But
The water's my favorite one.
I just can't get
I mean,
it.
if you're religious, freaking get on board with that. Like, the firmament was created by God. Goes in and explains how it was doing.
It's true. It is kind of weird that
The water's above and the,
The
water's
flatter-
below.
flat Earth seems so unbelievable, but like the truth, as science makes it, is also just completely incomprehensible.
Well, it's like, what do your eyes see? Your eyes see flat from an airplane.
But it does make
Your eyes see
does-
the sun with clouds, and the rays that are coming through make the sun look local. Like, what are your eyes seeing?
That's yeah.
It looks like the sun and the moon are local. It looks like the moon is putting off its own light. I don't know. I just like what do you see versus like what are you told to see?
It's hard though, because I've never thought about it. So I've always thought, well, what I'm seeing is for the record, I'm still 99% in agreement with the conventional wisdom.
99% weak.
But I in my mind I try to be like open minded, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but then in my mind I've operationally defined it as the moon's reflecting. Do you know what I mean? So that's what reflecting looks like, because that's
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? No matter what it looked like, that's what
Yeah.
the definition is.
Because obviously something reflecting off of a round surface looks completely flat and no like change of texture.
I mean, yeah, it is kind of weird that you could say it like that, and I don't really know how to rebut it.
That's all right. We could dig.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually got one that's gonna come up. That will be that will go. We're gonna go.
All right,
along
I'm
those lines.
98.9 now. You got me.
Hey, that's all.
Point
That's
one.
all I ask.
Chipping
All
away
right.
at it.
So let's jump into this. We've got quite a few. We're gonna try to get through most of these, and we'll just. I don't know. This episode's gonna go as long as it has to, I guess. Let me cue this up for us, and we'll cue it up for everybody here. We're gonna jump on our first one here. Let me get it because we can't hear it when we do it live. So we'll jump into this first one. You guys can check it out. Let's see. Let's pull it up here.
Guys, we need to get this revolution started. I've got land out here in West Texas, and I'm letting people live on my land for free. I don't care if you're sleeping in a tent, your vehicle, or if you got a 40-foot motorhome. Whatever you have, come on out and let's get this party started. Please repost this video. Please like this video. Please follow me on TikTok.
This is the
Send me a
ultimate, bro.
message and let me know when you're coming. I've got 20 acres. I'm going to buy another 20 acres soon. I've got chickens. I've got fruit trees. I've got everything organized. I've got everything prepared. We need to start doing things for ourselves again instead of living in this oppressive system. A system of oppression that's been designed for us. A matrix of entrapment is what we live
Pretty
in.
pretty
And I
well.
can't take it
Yeah,
any longer.
this
I'm
seems nice.
constantly dealing with social media restricting my accounts
I think
because
one
they
of my
don't like
favorite
what I'm
things, though,
doing,
is the fact
and they're
that
afraid of
he's,
what I'm doing. They're afraid
this
of
is
what I
sunglasses.
stand for.
Yeah.
And he's in
So
this
if you
truck,
guys
and
could
it doesn't
please
look
share
very
this
sunny
video,
outside.
please repost it. This
Maybe he's
government
like
is out
worried
of
about like
control.
retinal scan or something. I don't know.
People out there are paying so much for property taxes, it's like you guys are renting your own homes. We live in a multi-person dictatorship.
The renting your own
A
homes is
dictatorship
true.
is not just one person telling people what they can
Yeah.
do. We live in a dictatorship,
Yeah,
and
we're
they are
enslaved
dictating
from day
everything
one.
about our lives.
Go to
I'm sick of it.
spend all of our
So if you
energy
guys
through
can
our
please
free
repost
time
this video, please
giving
share it.
energy to them
Please follow me
instead
on
of
TikTok.
like.
I got a YouTube channel.
I mean, that's why those ancient
Please check out my
civilizations
other
like
videos if you're interested in
they were
living on
way
my
more
land.
Go
free
off
than
on
we
this.
are.
100%
Go
for
off
free.
on this, dude.
You're welcome to live here for free. All you got to do is send me a message
We'll
and let
jump
me know.
back here. This one's, I don't know. I actually like as he's talking. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like he gets it.
Yeah.
But I also think it's weird that he's like,
Like on the one hand, I'm like, you go, dude. But also,
Yeah.
am I taking my young kids there? No.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's a good idea. But then on the other side was like, didn't they do that in like Oregon with
Yeah.
the Chaz or whatever that
I
town
forgot
was.
about Chaz.
They took over someone else's land. They didn't offer to come.
Oh,
to
that
the
might have
land.
been the difference.
Yeah, they were
That might
like,
have been the
"This is our
difference.
land." It's like, no, it's not your land. But he said a couple of key things. The one where it's like you're renting your land, like whether you
Yeah.
own it or not, is freaking crazy. Because it's 100% true. I remember I was in mortgages, and this woman, her husband was dead. She's like 80, and her house was going into foreclosure. She came and talked to me. She had like 14 days. And this was back when you could still get a loan theoretically done in 14 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let's get it done. We tried to get it done. And the whole reason she was doing the lending, she owed like $60,000 on this house that her husband had built with his bare hands in like 1950. And so they bought the land, they built it, they'd owned it free and clear for 45 years or something like that. And she lost it because it didn't get funded in time, and so it went to foreclosure, and the government took her home.
Well, what's stupid
That he
is
built his
even
bare
if
He built with his bare hands on land that they owned,
Even
the
if
land
you-
that he inherited.
own the land and you own your house,
Yeah, doesn't matter.
you still have to pay taxes on it.
Which ultimately, when you think about it, is like think of like Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
You know, it's that beautiful house.
Yeah, I know it.
And all the serfs that live around there, and they're this kind of homesteading or whatever. I can't remember what they called it, but they're essentially renting that, and
Yeah.
the Lord's leisure. And I'm like, what a crazy system! I can't believe that they did that. And then they have that huge house, and everyone's in that tiny house. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I have one of those houses.
Yeah, they
and-
just sit around and play croquet with each other.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, whether it's your Kamala or Trump, it's like neither of those people are doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and those are both figureheads for the real power anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like, here we are going, we pay our whatever we pay. And golly, even if you don't pay tax, everyone's like, well, yeah, the middle class and there's different tax rates. Yeah, go. If you're poor, you may not pay income tax, but then you go play the lottery. And you are renting a house somehow that person's paying taxes on. So they're taking your money and just transferring it to the government. It all goes to the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get like
It
taxed
all goes to the government.
on the
really.
hours you work, you're taxed on what you buy, you're taxed on what you save.
That's the hole in this guy's thing is like, he doesn't own that.
Yeah.
Like, come on my land. He should say, come on mine and Uncle Sam's land.
Yeah.
Dude, the whole taxing thing in the United States just makes no sense to me. Because like, if you follow it down the rabbit hole, right? So like, you get a job, you're working for an employer, right? you basically are trading your time for money, and you're putting in all that effort and work, 8 hours a day or whatever, 5 days a week. And as you're working, trading your time for money, the government then comes in and says, hey, we have to take a percentage of that labor, that earned income. And then you basically have to pay Uncle Sam. Then you get in your car.
Which sidebar has never been ratified to be a legal thing.
Well, that's
Right.
what Trump's supposed to.
That's not a
supposed
conspiracy.
To be doing that.
That's not a conspiracy. That's true. Like
Yeah, you
it
can
took
look
like
that up.
75%
Yeah,
of the
there's
states.
no
or
like
something.
law that
There's no law.
the
But
IRS.
they will take you and put you in prison still.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
then
crazy.
but following that same line of thinking, go to work, I had to pay taxes on my income. I get in my car, that I had to pay taxes on when I bought it, and then not only that, I have to then pay registration for another tax every
and if
year.
you're in Utah, for some reason, you have to do it every year, like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, and then you
Why not go every other year at least?
Yeah. You go home, right? Or on your way home, you get gas, which then you pay taxes on that gas to then put in your car, right?
Yeah.
Then you go home, you get in your house that you pay property taxes on an annual basis.
And then you pour yourself a glass of milk that
You
the
had to pay
farmer paid taxes on to produce, and then the driver had to pay taxes on the fuel and the car or the truck to drive that to the grocery store. The grocery
Right.
store workers had to pay taxes to go and have the privilege of putting it on the shelf so that I can take it home and drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Times every product that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Dude, it's freaking. That's so.
And we're
that
in a
one so
deficit.
frustrates me.
That's the biggest scam of everything. Like,
The
I
Fed
just-
comes in and is like, hey, we have a better idea. Instead of just taking all of their money, we can create more money that
Yeah.
their kids will have to pay us back.
yeah. And then they'll just think that they're free.
If you think of it, they really are taking more than 100% of our time.
Well, that's I think the biggest like secret to all of it. Like you look at these ancient civilizations, and we kind of like look down our nose at them because we're like so much smarter than them, so much more evolved. But think about if most of our day and our energy was just spent on like being with our family in like a smaller community and like raising our kids to be good people and support like the community.
Right.
How much better and more fulfilled of a life would we have? Instead, we
Like-
don't. We leave our family.
Like you're looking forward to the barn raising in a couple weeks. Like you're
Yeah.
just excited about it.
Yeah.
I know.
That fall festival where we're all going to eat
The parade.
the food that we grew.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
such
and
a
that's
different-
essentially what that guy's trying to like set up, which could work really well. I mean, you look at like the law of consecration. Like, I mean, that's basically it. Like you.
I'm so
Everyone's
anti-communist until I really think about it. Really, I just need a good leader.
Yeah.
And then I'm
That's
totally
the
in.
problem
That's
with communism.
the
is
hard
that you'll
part, yeah.
always
Yeah.
have corrupt leadership.
Yeah. I know if I was running it,
There's a guy.
Yeah.
There's a
I'd be
guy.
corrupt.
Me and my buddies would be totally hooked
That's
up.
right. We would have all the good grapes and
I
then
have-
the gushy ones.
I have
Like-
heard of a guy.
They're like,
Yes, they've
they're
got
like
the-
dropping
the
the grapes
fan.
in.
Yeah.
It's like, Daniel,
Yeah.
if you want to stay in my good graces, I'm a little warm.
Yeah.
And Daniel's
like-
I don't know. That seems like a great system to me. So.
Oh man, but I have heard of a guy though that is supposed to be able to be like the best and like the only person that could actually pull off communism.
yes, one guy.
Yeah.
Just waiting for him to come.
Yep.
Hector
Alright.
Zeroni.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into our next one. The next one, this is a classic topic. I've actually seen a lot of these videos recently, more than normal, and I haven't actually seen this one until we prepped it. So we'll jump into this one here really quick, and I'm gonna cue it up on my
this
end
from
here
your-
really quick.
From your thing. Oh, yeah, follow me at Travis Ocean.
Travis
my
Ocean on
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yep.
It's a great one. It's a great one.
It's very similar to Field Emotion.
Yeah.
So basically, this guy's like driving through the woods here, making his way.
Dude, this one, the comments are pretty like, oh, this is so fake. Because the camera's not like super good. Can they hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you. Yeah.
But watch this. But of course, I think this is how it would look with my camera, at least on my camera phone.
Yeah.
Look at bro standing there, dude. Now I know everything can be faked, right? But
Well, the thing was that kind of I initially.
what is that?
Curious what you think about this
Yeah.
one. Let us know in the
Now you can
comments.
see like it like panned out. So, because my first initial thought was like, why is it so zoomed in? But then at the very end of the video, it shows it zoomed out. So it was like a dash cam. But in order to get a good picture, they
They had to take it-
cropped it and zoomed in.
Right.
So that to me, like whenever I see stuff like that where it's like zoomed in or the image looks weird, I'm like, oh yeah, like it's totally fake. But then at the very end, when it like panned back out, I was like, oh dude, yeah.
The
But
big,
dude, you see how tall he is?
the Bigfoot thing to me
Big
is
dude.
the Bigfoot thing to me is really interesting because it's like the least evidence of something that then it's so easy to think, well, we should just totally be able to have evidence of this. But then, like someone was saying that we've only discovered like 10% of the species of all animals on the earth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Have you also seen the image? Like it's on social media, and hopefully you guys have seen it. If not, maybe I can even try to get it in here before we end the episode. But it's basically shows like a map, right, of all the kidnappings. You know,
Oh,
most
yeah.
kidnappings that have taken place in the United States, and it's like a dot map where it's got like United States and just a bunch of dots. And then they below that have a map of the United States of all the known caves
Yeah, not
and underground
I don't think it's kidnapping. I think it's like the most
disappearances or something?
disappearances.
Yeah, something like
Where
that.
people lose people and they just go missing, and it lines up perfectly with the cave system.
I have it on my phone.
And like our national parks.
Really?
Yeah. Because
Let me
like,
see if
why
I
are our
can find
national
it here really
parks
quick.
the national parks, and why are there some areas that we can't go to?
You know, I've never ever
Like the Grand Canyon. Why is so much of the Grand Canyon hidden? Because we are ancient Egypt.
We are.
in America.
Dude.
Like, how did we make those buildings?
There's way more pyramids.
Oh, by the
in
way,
America
I saw
than
someone
there are Egypt.
finally do some math that I was like, I finally am on board with. They can't build the pyramids. Like, I already was like, investigating it, obviously open to it, but the
Interesting. What brought you over?
So the math was something like they just took the number of blocks and they're like, all right, let's just say that they have some awesome technology.
And they can move them and carve them and slide them into place.
I think I should probably find it for you, but I think it was like, so they said they can build it in 20 years. That's kind of the general thinking, is like it took like 20 years, which is a long time. But like at 20 years, it was like they had to place one of those blocks every like 8 minutes, like carve it.
Well, they're like, well, they had millions of slaves doing it.
And I'm like, yeah, but have you ever tried to like this sounds a little macabre, but like carry a casket, and everyone's like trying to reach in, and it's like you can, like let's have 100,000 people carry this one casket. It's like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's not enough room, and it's like I don't know, man. That's a lot of.
And then every 8 minutes, I know it's not the exact time, but even that to like drop it, line it up, edge,
it's like
edge,
within a millimeter,
and then the other one is going to be dropped and fit, and like that's saying if all the
8
stones
minutes includes
are
cutting it
perfect.
hundreds of miles away, transporting them.
Oh, that's like not
it
just
includes all
laying
that.
them.
Yeah, it's like it includes that, right? Because it's like, well, in 20 years they found that quarry, and then they're like, we're not going to build it near that. We're going to build it over here for some reason.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, and then cut, and so it's like I don't know, just stuff like that where people are like, well, just the basic explanation is the best one, and the same with Bigfoot. It's like, well, obviously that's not true because we would have found his body and all this other stuff, but it's like there's lots of evidence that could that doesn't eliminate it. Like the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence.
Well, and if like those like UFO hearings that they had a couple months ago, and that guy was talking about like we're dealing with interdimensional beings. If Bigfoot is just like an interdimensional being, pops in here every now and then, doing something, and we see him, and
Like are you saying his life form can just go in between dimensions? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like he just opens a
So he
portal
just
and he's
like,
I
jumps
want to
in.
eat some humans.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some pine cones.
Pine
I don't
cones.
have pine cones on my frequency, so let me tune into this one, like a channel, right? TV, all the channels of the TV right now.
Some pine. What are they called? Pine.
And the
nuts?
weird part is like science seems to be. I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not smart enough. So perhaps among our millions of followers, I'm like sending that out there.
There's a scientist.
Yeah, there's a scientist that's be like, Travis, you're so dumb. That doesn't make sense. But it's like the science seems to be coming along, like vibrations and all of these things are becoming really mainstream. With like, we have frequencies of our body, and the diseases will have different frequencies, and it's just really, it isn't absurd to me. Like in my lifetime, even the UFO thing was absurd.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, literally no one believed in UFOs.
Yeah.
Just the crazy people.
Well, even for
Now
me
it's
as
like
a kid, still nobody believes it. Now it's like,
now you ask somebody, I guarantee you walk out on the street and you ask the person, you're more likely to get someone who says, yeah, I think that's probably true.
yeah. Well, look at like all the carvings across all of like the ancient civilizations.
Right.
They all talked about like frequencies and devices, and it's like, oh, they just like hammer and chisel to do. It's like, yeah, that's because like they found them.
Have you seen the? I mean, it's a small block, but it's a stone, maybe this big, and the guy, I think he uses his mouth, and he's like makes this like it's like a tube, and he like holds it over the rock, and then he like makes like a tone. And at a certain frequency, the rock will elevate, and he can literally move the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, with just sound.
No way.
Yeah, and there's reasons that exact thing wouldn't work on a big tube. I mean, on a big pyramid-sized rock. They like he even talks about it. Like
Need a
this,
big enough tube.
this
But
would
if
work.
the people that built them were larger,
That's one thing, or perhaps it's just a different frequency, is what this person was saying. He's
Yeah.
like, well, all right, well, this works. So what if we just did a different frequency, or what if we had a bigger machine? You know?
if you had a bigger machine or a different type of technology, and you could like vibrate at the same density of like the rock, then you could just mold it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they did with like the pyramids. Like they just had this ability, and then they just take this rock and put it in the mold and vibrate it or shoot it with like a ray, and then it just becomes like liquid, and then they stop, and then it's hard.
Yeah.
And they just pick it up and place it.
That makes sense on like the Inca stuff too, where
Yeah.
they're like these weird shapes, but they.
That one where it's like they can't fit paper
Yeah.
through it, and all the rocks are like weird, like L shape. Like
Oh, I know.
there's
what you're
just
talking
there's
about.
no
There's, like, 5
way.
angled
There's
joints.
just no way that people carved that.
Like,
out.
I think it could happen if, like, one person spent 20 years, like, carving that rock out. You know, like an art project, and there's like, and they said it again. No, not quite.
And they grab a paper
And
and
they just
they're
keep,
like,
you know what I mean?
nope.
Yeah.
One more thing about the
So,
Bigfoot thing.
papyra.
We didn't talk super much about Bigfoot, but that video kind of freaks me out. There's lots of better videos, too, about Bigfoot, and there's that cool story of the dude in Canada who, like, the government came and chased away. But I went on a daddy-kid camp out, you know, took my kids camping, and
Yeah.
I don't think they're called daddy kid, but
we used to call it father and sons.
yeah.
But
Oh,
now
they
they-
really not
but-
call it that?
No, because the girls come, so the daughters come. So I'm trying to
Oh.
think of some cool name.
Yeah,
It's like,
gotta include them.
yeah, it's awesome. So, but every year I take all the kids from our church on a Bigfoot hunt.
Smart.
And the thing that I was thinking about when I was doing it is, you know, I tell a couple stories, the really
Yeah.
easy going ones, but the kids are very open minded to it. Like
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, of course, you know. I mean, I think we saw Bigfoot's eyes like 6 times on this camp
Yeah.
out.
It usually happens when you talk about them.
And so that could go both ways for me. On the one hand, I'm like, all right, it's really easy for human beings to believe in something that's kind of like this scary thing. And there's probably a usefulness in that to keep us safe.
Right.
You know, there's the dark.
We've gone way into that. Like a lot of these folklores or things are like lessons that they've
Yeah.
taught. To
There's a
keep us
utility
safe.
to there's a utility
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
And so part of me was thinking that, but then the other part of me was like, well, perhaps our ability to think these things means that they're real. It's like,
Yeah.
what's the difference between believing something? Like there's all these different dimensions we talk about. Well, one of the dimensions is belief or thought. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you think something before it exists.
Yeah.
Like this microphone it's in 3 dimensions now, but whoever created this, it was created first in 2 dimensions, which was
Right.
inside their brain.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, I don't know. It's like their ability to believe, and even my own ability to like. Sometimes you think, that's no way that could be true. But then when I was hiking around with those little kids, I'm like, that'd be crazy if we did see Bigfoot, you know. And you get into it, and so I get that like that means like, hey, maybe everyone's gullible, and so obviously nothing's true.
Yeah.
But the other side is maybe we believe this stuff because it is true,
Yeah.
or it has been true, or it could
Yeah.
be true. Which is what's the difference?
Yeah.
So a couple comments that we've gotten here that I think we'll talk about here really quick. So one, talking about the stones in some of these, like the pyramids, and even in some of the ones that are in Central America. One of the comments here says that if we've done research on how they fit the stones, and that if you take 2 stones and rub them together, it'll eventually will erode, which is true.
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
you could get them to fit perfectly. But when you think about the size of these stones, they're the size of cars
that's
and
what I would say
houses,
back
and they're
is-
huge.
And as you place them like higher and higher, and the size of the stones, like you're just like it just doesn't. And then you think you'd break them as you're sliding them, but there
Yeah.
isn't. It doesn't show signs that they're like ground together or
Yeah.
grinded.
Grinded.
And even if they
ground.
were, that would change the measurements, right? Like if you stack that many blocks together, if you're like getting rid of materials
Yeah.
so that they fit together better.
It's a good like thought, because I that's interesting
Yeah.
to see if the
I think on a small
are
scale,
different
that's like
sizes.
exactly how you do it, right? But then I think it's just the scale of these stones, especially like I can't remember the name of the site, but there's one that's in the southern or in South Pacific. That the stones themselves are they're like huge, like size of cars, and they are perfectly blocked, and it's amazing. But
They even have those the size of those one I can't remember what they call them, but
I'll see if I can figure out where that
like
one
the
is.
DC monument. What are those things called?
Obelisk.
Yeah, the tall. There's a tall spire.
Yeah.
Spire,
Is
but
it-
they
is
have
it
that
an
one where
obelisk?
they. I think so. I don't,
Yeah.
It doesn't sound right, but I think you're right.
No, I think
it's
it
one of
is.
those where it's like.
Yeah.
But they found that one, and it's the largest one ever, and it's only halfway cut out.
Yeah.
And they're like, what were they going to do with this?
And
Because
why do we have them?
yeah,
Washington D.C.
that's a whole nother. That's
Yeah.
a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It's called Nan Madol. Nan Madol in the South Pacific. These, like, look at some, and like, look at this one. This one here is an Incan wall. And look at those stones. Those stones are probably like, I would say like
I like
6
how
feet
they have like
tall.
the little key stone in there that's also not square. It just perfectly fits.
Perfectly fits, yeah.
Well, and I get the concept of like grinding them together
Like, this is
with
the one I
certain
always
type
think
of
about.
rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, Incan walls of Cusco. Yeah, I mean they're big stones, and when you think
I mean,
about
that-
these stones are heavy. So even if you had like one that's the size of a fridge,
Yeah.
that's like a ton.
But if you
2
could
tons.
put it like
Massive.
put the rock on there and then hit something against it, say some sort of like watch device on like the Anunnaki carvings and different things, like they all have this wristwatch on them that then like makes the rock like marshmallow almost, and then it
Right.
just melts in and fills all the little cracks, and then you remove it, and then you put the next thing on top, hit it with that, it becomes like a marshmallow, because that's how they look. They look a little like puffed out around where the line is, where they sit on top of each other.
Right. Yeah.
Which is kind of what I think it would look like that.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers some of the questions. I mean, we need to do a deep dive on some of that stuff. We've talked about it in previous episodes. I think when we did our ancient civilizations episode, we kind of go into more depth on that. But anyways, let's get to the next episode. This one, if you are into holograms, you're gonna like this one. So let me cue this one up here real quick.
3, 2,
So this is
1.
basically guys like
Hello.
in like a studio
I am David Nussbaum, the founder of Proto Hologram.
screen.
Proto is a holographic spatial computing device company that allows for the real-time communication from anybody to anybody else in real time, whether they can physically be there or not. Proto technology also has an AI component to it that allows for translation of any language. Hundreds of languages are in our system. You can speak any language to anyone at any time, and it can be unlimited. So teachers are beaming into schools. Right now, teachers are giving lectures on stages and in classrooms around the world.
So if they could make this
In some places, there are such rural locations that students are struggling to learn.
somebody there that
And so what we've done is we've given the best minds from around the world.
an attempted assassination.
And professors.
I put in another one that so your thinking is going exactly where my put. So I saw this video first,
Yeah.
then I sent the one with the masks, and I'm
we'll
just
get
like,
into that one.
and I'm just like,
I haven't watched that one yet.
I'm really, I really at this weird crisis point. Like, I have a friend, we kind of argue politics sometimes. We used to. I can't even really argue politics with him more because I'm like, I'm having a tough time figuring out what I even know.
Yeah.
Like the moon thing, right? It's like that, but with everything in life.
Yeah.
Like, I like this person because he stands for this. And I'm like,
But do I know that?
one,
Yeah.
does he actually stand for it or is he just saying it? Okay, that's level one. Level
Yeah.
two is maybe he does stand for it and his handlers are changing the message to me.
Yeah.
And then number three is his handlers put out a pure message or some sort of message, but then my window of viewing is being altered by China or the U.S. government or who knows who else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just some programmer that has a different worldview and is innocently altering it. Even like that's another level that like maybe there's not necessarily good or bad, but like if Daniel was the oracle that all information went to the world from, it's gonna be different than even if it's fielding.
Yeah.
just because of the way you do things, even about your skill level in communicating.
Right.
It's just going to alter everything. So now I'm like in this like weird crisis of how do you do it? Now, I will say, I keep coming back to the one thing, and I'm like, why are we always sing these songs in church about like follow the prophet? Why are we always being told to read the scriptures?
Yeah.
Because those things are, the scriptures, first of all, they've already been written, right?
Yeah.
So they can't be, you can interpret them differently, and then we see the trouble with that. People interpret them differently.
Right.
But they at least exist in a concrete version. And so what's he doing?
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that like he does one thing and then I have to do that exact thing he does per se. But at least Project Bluebeam, and I'm thinking in my mind of like Muhammad, Jesus, and Buddha just appear in the sky above San Francisco after it's been destroyed by a 10.0 earthquake.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, guys, you've just been reading the scriptures wrong.
Yeah.
What we really meant was you guys should all get in these special regions in America and work for the common good.
Well,
and
they all
look at the
spoke
prophet.
in parables.
Yes.
So like none of them came out and said like do this, do that. Like it's all just parables.
Well, why do you think
which
that
like
is, Fielding?
forces you to like think.
Okay.
Because I think the whole point of all of this is like individual growth. So we can become the people that we are, and we're not told do this, do that. Like they started that, like, hey, don't like kill people, don't sleep with your neighbor. Like
at least 2 houses down.
3 houses.
Is that right? I'm interpreting that different.
I would think at least
zip code.
other neighborhood, but
okay.
I mean, 2 houses, I guess, is better than a neighbor.
Yeah, but everything like it forces you to put in the groundwork, right? And then for all my QAnon people, like Q always said that, like he asked questions that then made you go do your own research and connect things. He didn't say
In
like,
a way, I used
hey,
to
we
think that
this person's corrupt.
why is everything in parable? I'm like, why not just tell us?
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to see it's so much more or so much less corruptible. The parable is. Like if it was explicit, you could prove it wrong, or I don't know, you can attack it.
Well, I don't know. Even with coaching, like changing behaviors, like somebody early on, you're gonna tell them like, hey, this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, do this. But then the further along they get, you're gonna have like them create more of like their own process. You're gonna ask questions, and then whatever their answer is, you're gonna ask them like, why do you think that? Why did you say that?
Yeah.
Like, and it just creates a version of it, of whatever the concept is, of like ownership, right? Like, I'm gonna go to church the rest of my life because I've lived this life and I've experienced these things, and like I think this way now, so now I'm gonna do this. But I think if you're just told what to do your whole life, which
For
I
some
think
reason
there's
this is
people
really
that do that.
resonating with me right now. I'm just like, this is true. Like, we know what to do. We just don't know it. And so you get these parables and these things and you figure it out. Like you said, it makes you think.
Yeah.
And thinking really is the process we have to go through, right?
Right.
Doesn't mean right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a version of, and that's why I think all religion, when you break down everything, it's like they're all so similar because the concept's the same. Like, you're here to be tested, don't be an a-hole, and like if you do good, like you get to keep going.
Yeah. Me and my wife were actually talking about like a similar subject to this, more specific to like our religion, but like talking about how, and I guess you could put the Pope in, you could put anybody, but like we were talking about the prophet, and the question was, why doesn't the prophet just tell us, right? Like, just
such a relief in some ways.
yeah. Like, so, but like going down the rabbit hole though in this thought process is, let's say, pretend like we've got conference coming up here in like October, right? First week of October. Could you imagine like prophet gets up and is like, hey, like world's gonna end in the next 6 months, and then second coming Christ is going to come again or whatever.
Stop
right?
cutting your grass.
Yeah, like no point in doing anything else. Like it's gonna.
You don't need a haircut, obviously. You think that's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's
we leaned into that one.
yeah. But that's the thing is like you think about it. Everybody goes and they hear this, and then what happens that next Monday? No one's gonna go to work.
Why would you?
Why would you? Right? The world's gonna end. Like
It's the same way if they like the government knew an asteroid was coming, they wouldn't tell you.
yeah, because then
Anarchy.
yeah, economy crashes, right? Especially the local economy. Where we're at, Utah predominantly.
Yeah.
Well, good. No
I mean-
one would die from the asteroid.
Land of milk and
Yeah,
honey.
everyone would die
They'd-
of
they'd
killing
already be
each other.
dead.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, of course, like they're not going to give you specifics and tell you exactly because if they did, then it would just lead to more harm than good. There'd be all kinds of anarchy. People would get hurt, and it makes no sense. But I always thought that too. I was like, oh man, it's so frustrating. Why don't you just tell me? Just tell me what's going to happen so that I can be prepared for it. But that's again goes back to like why we're here, being tested. Like you've got to be prepared. You've got to take care of your family. You've got to heed warnings and look for signs. And anyways, it's,
sure.
Yeah, that's a cool topic. We could go off the rails on that one. But okay, next video. This one's weird. I don't know how I feel about this one, but we're gonna go ahead and pull it up here. So hold on, let me cue it up for us.
While you're queuing it up, that previous one with the guy, just be aware. You can't trust your eyes. You have to really think about things. Don't take people's word for it.
Yeah, and like a little religious plug. The power of discernment.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to know good and evil. Anyways, let's pull this next one up here.
The following footage is captured by a family who were out fishing with their kids. They were just having some family time, but it's not what they were doing that has set the internet ablaze. It's in the background, specifically the sky after the father casts his fishing line. Take a look. This is why so many conspiracy theorists are out there talking about the Matrix, glitches. It's because when we see evidence like this, it makes you
He's got
question
great form,
what's
great
really
fisherman.
going on.
And you can see him
Take
like
a look
looking
at
up
this
the
footage
sky
and tell
being
me
like,
what you
what
think.
the heck? But here's the thing that like see
Did
now
you
this
see
is
what
full
happened in the
speed.
sky?
Full speed,
And I watched full speed. It's like blue sky.
and boom. It
And
like
then-
switches to like a white sky. Initially when I saw this, I thought, oh, like this is just like the camera focusing and adjusting like the exposure because it was too bright.
Yeah.
But then the end right there where they zoom in and look at the trees, and then
What was that?
the actual trees themselves and the shadows in the trees, the exposure doesn't change. So
So it's
that
not the
definitely
camera
was
adjusting.
no. It had nothing to do with the camera, because if you were going to change the exposure, and I mean, technology is pretty advanced now, especially with cameras and like what they're able to create. But if you're changing it on an image, it should change everything.
Everything else
Yeah.
looked the same.
Yeah.
And then also there was like that little, almost looked like a lightning as I watched it over and over. Like at first I'm like, well, I didn't see anything, which is interesting. The whole sky changed.
Yeah.
But then there's that little lightning that's kind of a burst, and I'm like, what is that? And so I was thinking about you flat earth people about this one. This is one of the ones that I was like, what this would support the dome theory or something like that.
Yeah.
And
It's
they just-
basically just a giant Truman Show.
Yeah.
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 Or
There's
like,
so-
have you seen
there's so
Chicken
much
Little,
like-
the cartoon Chicken Little?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sky's falling, and then
Yeah.
like literally like it's like the digital media TVs, and it falls down.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Well, like you think about how like we send up like flat earth, like, oh, you should be able to see the sun, like, but we don't know if like the higher up we get, there's like dark matter that exists that is like fog, but we just can't detect it. So if it was really foggy and Daniel goes out with a flashlight, walks down the street and holds it up, the flashlight will eventually just disappear. Even though I should be able to see him. But it's like we can see the fog, so we know the light's being obscured. But maybe like there's dark matter, there's stuff that exists that we don't see that hides that stuff.
Right.
And so if there is some sort of like screen or dome or sky that's like the ultimate backdrop, like, yeah, sometimes there's going to be a power surge or a glitch or something. But I've seen a lot of videos like that where the sky like changes color a little bit, and then like flashes back.
Well, and I've seen the ones where it's like there's like a bird flying,
Yeah.
and then like it flaps its wings down, and it's like
It just
it
stays.
just stops.
Yeah.
And it just stays, and then it's like they watch for a second, and all of a sudden it just boom, and it's back to flying and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like the one where, did you see the one where like I think Travis, you're the one that showed us that video like a while back, but there's this one where like there's like a bird or something that's stuck.
Oh, and they go
up
and
in the
hit it with
sky.
a broom.
Yeah, and they
Oh,
hit it with the
dude,
broom, and
what
then it
was
just
that?
starts flying again.
Yeah.
You guys gotta look that one
I
up.
just hope that's-
you could look it up on YouTube.
I just hope that's a Photoshop or something, because that unnerved me.
I just think that
Everyone
goes,
on the street was looking at it too.
Yeah. It goes into like we're just in some sort of giant like computer system where everything is nothing's really anything,
yeah.
and it's all just like processing like what our eyes see. Like, and we've had this theory before, like right now the interior of my car, is it rendered right now or is it just blank?
Yeah.
Because all that needs to be rendered is right here for what we can see. So your kids are at home watching TV.
Yeah, this is like
Nothing down the hallway or anything right now is rendered because nobody's looking at it.
My son Thor was just playing. What was he playing? It's the awesomest game. It's on Xbox, and you know you're like medieval, and you become an orc and run around. And it was before everything was online too. It was Oblivion was the original one, and then it was anyway. But it's like that. You can see it in the distance. Like where you're around, it's pretty cool, and the artwork's pretty cool, especially for the time. It's older video game now, but then you can kind of see it like building itself
Yeah.
off in the distance.
Yeah.
my wife and I, we play a game called PUBG a lot. It's a ton of fun, and it's the same thing. Like there's sometimes in the game where you like find like a long distance scope to put on your gun to like see bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
But if you zoom in far enough, we call it Play-Doh. Like it's like the buildings are like not rendered all the way, and so like it limits your ability to be able to shoot super far because it's not rendered, and you can't even see the players because it hasn't been rendered.
Oh, maybe that's why you can't see the sun when you get up high enough. Hasn't been rendered yet. Your eyes can't see that far, and the system knows that you can't see that far, so it doesn't render it.
What do you mean when you get high enough you can't see the sun?
So you know how
Do you
they
mean,
sent. Well, I can always see the sun no matter how high I am. No, they send up these like GoPros on these balloons
Yeah.
to show that there's no curvature. And as high up as the balloons go, there's no curvature, but you also like can't see the moon and can't see the sun on the other side of the earth supposedly. But there's no curve at all. It's just flat. So maybe that's why you can't
I
see the
swear,
sun,
dude,
because it's not rendered.
Now I want to go back to Chicago, because I remember going to Chicago and I went up in Sears Tower or whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
Sears.
It's
I don't
called-
think it's Sears
like
Tower
Willis,
now,
It's like
but yeah.
Willis Tower. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
Willis.
Yeah.
Just leave it Sears
Just
Tower.
let it
Will's
be
like, I
Sears.
gotta have my name Willis.
Yeah. Sears is
tower.
going out of business.
Anyway, and I swear I was looking across the lake, and I remember thinking it was round,
Yeah.
but now I'm like questioning myself.
Yeah, you
Well, it's
told.
because you were told it was round.
Yeah.
So you're expecting to see the curvature.
Look how weak I am. Now you guys are telling me it's flat. Now I'm like questioning it.
Well, it's like that video
It's
of
like,
like
the same thing. Like, oh, it's
there's
flat.
there's like
It's
this
vertical.
video of all these people, and it's like count how many like green balls there are. And so like the video happens is all these people standing, and then like the green balls go by. And
That
then
is
they're
such
like,
a cool trick.
They're
The
like,
first time
okay,
that-
now let's rewatch it. Did you notice that there was like a bear on a unicycle?
Yes.
And you're just like,
Dude.
no way. So you rewind the video and then watch the first part, and you're like, how did I not see the bear
It
on the
was there
unicycle?
the whole time.
It was there the whole time.
The
but
first
you
time I saw
don't-
that-
you don't see it.
The first time I saw this seriously, I thought I 100% thought there wasn't a bear. I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
and then when it was, I was like,
Yeah.
the whole world's a lie.
That's how we're gonna be
Everything-
when we're like, oh, the
Nothing is
sun
true.
is local.
Yeah. Yeah, that's messed up.
Extraterrestrials are just the people that live on the extra.
Yeah, we're watching the green balls, and they're like, there's one in this room.
Yeah, we just don't see it.
Yeah.
You guys aren't ready for that.
Yeah, that one's too deep. All right, here's our next one, and this one freaks me out. I don't know why, but it does.
If you know, you know. Wait, celebrity skin suits.
Fred Savage!
Okay.
I'm also Tony Danza, Cameron Manheim, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Kevin Nealon, John Forsythe, and Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich.
Call it bizarre, kind of disturbing, and a little freakish. Emma peels away a latex mask and busts to reveal the Sophia. Just can't help but wonder what's going on.
Alright, now that had to be CGI. Where's the hair?
See, that one I think is fake, though.
There is
Because
He even says it's
definitely
yeah.
something different about the two of you.
you're still like no big deal.
Collagen, 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 collagen.
See that? This one, you can see this one clear as day.
Look at the
Clear
eyes.
as day.
Well, they say that that's like Will Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Will Smith plays
Wait,
that guy.
isn't that the same
Like,
Tyler
but
Perry
like he
who
doesn't exist.
literally
Yeah.
wears
Like,
skin
Will
suits
Smith
and
is him.
acts as other
Right, that's what I mean.
characters?
Like,
If you listen
That, like,
to the voice
celebrities
on
play
Tyler
other
Perry
celebrities.
speak
Like
when he
they
speaks,
double up.
you will clearly hear Will Smith.
Have you seen the
and
Taylor
like
She
Swift?
was so happy to
celebrities
have
that
that.
die.
It's very sentimental
Are just like
for me,
kids.
and we do a lot
Maybe.
of shooting down here for a
Yeah,
lot of the
let's go
shows.
talk right now.
I've been totally computer generated since like the 90s. We do a lot of shooting down here for a lot of the shows. It's 2019, y'all. Nothing's real.
That's a costume. That's a costume. That's a
Don't even
costume.
get me started on presidents and all that stuff.
The Biden thing is 100% by now officially the camp. Biden was being play acted.
So at this point the entire time, I'm tripped out. He's different height, his
That's
teeth
Michael.
are different, his eyes are different, his ears every other time he's out talking.
I mean, the very fact that even like Shane Gillis can do a Trump that you're like, if you squinted, it's Trump.
That disguised
It's like, it wouldn't even be that hard.
Oh yeah, this is Michael Jackson.
To his Encino house.
And isn't it like Dave? And he's on Larry King or something
Hello
like
all, this is Dave. How are you? I want to thank each and every one of you.
Yeah, he's just like that's Michael Jackson.
May God bless you. I love you.
I think you get to. Well, there's a couple things. Like,
Thank you very
it's
much for all
they
of
go
your
into witness
support.
protection
And may
because of all the
God
satanic
bless you.
There's
stuff.
for some reason right now over the audio clip. So
That's a
hold on second. I'm
costume.
gonna switch it off the camera and put it back on us. But I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why that's not our audio's not working over that. But
Anyway, so I think the celebrities playing other celebrities, or they go into witness protection because I believe that there's like satanic stuff that you do to get to that level, and I think at times they're like, this is too far, like I'm exiting out of it, or they just want to like protect their identities of who they really are, and so they play this character. And
The
I mean, it's
Tyler
like
Perry thing makes sense to me because I'm like, out of nowhere, if you'll remember, it was like, who's Tyler Perry? All of a sudden, he's like a billionaire, like movie maker, and then even in his movies, he's putting on masks.
Yeah, and then celebrities disappear for long periods of time. Like, you don't see them for a couple years, right? And then there's just like a picture of them. So you go put on the suit once a year, take a couple pictures of you like hiking. And
well, you've heard of the Elvis thing. Our producer Mary mentioned Elvis.
Oh,
that he's
that
alive.
preacher
the
guy.
preacher, the
Yeah.
religious dude.
Yeah.
Have you
Like,
seen that?
All of his entourage just joined that church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's this
And he
Tupac.
looks like him, and he sounds like
Did you
him.
see the video of him singing?
No.
Yeah.
No joke. He's like, it looks like it's some kind of church party.
Yeah.
And there's this Elvis impersonator.
He like
that's
gets,
trying to sing, and then he sings to the Elvis impersonator
Yeah.
an Elvis song, and he sounds just like Elvis. It's crazy.
There's a DJ
It's so
that
crazy.
is Tupac. Like, they zoom in and show the same like mole by his ear and his cheek of Tupac, and it's identical. And then they show a clip of him talking about like, you know, will Tupac ever be like reincarnated, come back? And he's just like, well, I'm already here, so that's not like that's not anything new.
It's so weird how people can just say stuff, and then like the astronauts, they go and interview, like that is what you look exactly like that person. They're like, oh yeah, a lot of people think I'm that person, but I'm not.
Right.
That's
you're
it.
I
talking
just
about
happen to have a twin.
Yeah,
the Challenger.
Challenger. The died in
the Challenger
explosion.
doppelgangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's not like, and then 3 of the explanations are that I'm the twin brother of that person.
Yeah, they all had like twins.
What are the chances? Okay, like the vetting process to become an astronaut is like, I don't know, 1 in a bajillion. You
Probably
might make
pretty
it.
hard.
You
And then of those,
Yeah.
7, like 3 of them are twins, and we didn't know who those twins were before the incident.
Yeah.
Like there's no
And
record.
they
of
only
it.
showed up like as people started connecting the dots as they
Yeah.
were like old.
Yeah,
Connect
because
dots.
in the 80s, I could totally see they're like, well, we'll just fake this, and you guys just go live your lives, and no one will ever know because they, you know, what they're gonna do? Go down to the library and look at some encyclopedias.
Yeah.
And now it's like everyone has like a freaking supercomputer in their hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with a camera on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it.
Well, and you
really
can scrub
changed.
stuff that like
Yeah.
the way that data is coming out, it's so fast you can't scrub.
Yeah.
Like imagine being the ones that are like controlling all this.
And they're doing a good job, but
and
it's
you're
be
like
hard.
trying to scrub these things, but there's so many. You've done so many crazy things, like NASA's fake, spacewalks are fake. It's the bottom of a pool, like so. You have that thing. Then you have like politics. Then you have like the media, and then you have like Epstein and Diddy
But
and all the
they're
different
all
things.
related,
And
too,
you're
like-
all like you're trying to scrub the things. Like that's a full-time job.
Do you think there's a place where they get to go and just
Why do you think
chill?
they're pushing AI so hard?
And they just
Yeah.
get to relax and be like, oh man, I've been faking these spacewalks. And they're like, oh, tell me about it, dude. I'm in charge of the Biden fake mask walks.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh man, whew, that's crazy. You know, where they can just relax because
That's got to be rough.
that would be tough to just always be on.
Well, I think about that.
Yeah.
Like, who's playing?
I have empathy for them.
Like the Biden.
That's how good I am.
Like, who's playing Biden? Who's doing all this stuff? Like, and then you come out and like you would just have to feel like the rest of your life they're gonna kill you. And I
Dude.
assume that most of the time
They do.
like you do this stuff. Like Hitler was known for doing that. He'd have people like build things and he'd just kill them.
Yeah. Like bunkers and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then for sure, Hitler was a fake.
Yeah.
The real Hitler was gone probably before they started losing the war.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. There's no way that he would have stuck around.
Yeah, he's like, you guys know what to do, right? Jews bad.
Yeah.
Do tank attacks
Yeah.
and just keep going.
Yeah.
Never quit, even if you should quit. Just keep
Yeah.
throwing men at it.
And then he looks
All
at
right.
a map and he's like, they're definitely circling me.
Yep.
Okay, well, Ava, let's
Let's
get in
head
our
to
submarine.
Argentina.
Go to Argentina.
Yep.
They got a little Hispanic culture with a little bit of Italian cooking.
Yeah.
And a lot of beef. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a good place for us.
Be great. And they have tall mountains.
It's the same.
great.
It's the same. And now it's starting to come out that like they faked Osama bin Laden. Like
Well,
Osama
dude,
bin Laden was
that
never
was- this-
even a real person.
Don't even
The
get me
Osama bin
started on
Laden
that
thing
one,
was like,
dude.
I was still not even really like, I was still like 9/11 was real. And
Oh no, I was on board with it fake, and then I come
But the
downstairs.
way they handled it, it was one of the things that like made me think, wait, maybe 9/11 is not real. You know, maybe there are aliens.
and they're like, we are now like letting you know that like Osama was taken out, blah blah blah, and then you're just like, well, that's sure convenient. The election's in like a month.
Well, good
like,
timing.
what are the odds?
it's great timing.
And then his body never shows up, and then you later find out, oh, they dumped him in the ocean.
On purpose, we didn't bring his body because
Dude,
the
that
proof that
piece,
he would die would be too awesome for everyone.
Well, then people were like, they
Well,
would,
yeah.
they would resurrect him, and then he'd be like worshipped, and we don't want him being worshipped, so we just dumped his body in the ocean.
The whole
Oh, and
explanation
then we
was so
killed
weak.
the SEAL team that killed him. They all died in a helicopter
but now
crash.
but now there's people that come out on TikTok because I've heard that too. And
Yeah.
the SEAL team died. But now you see people like, yeah, I was there and I shot him in the face and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought that all those guys died, but they didn't because this guy's here now and he's like a red-blooded American, and so now I have to believe him.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I see that even back then. Like the September 11th thing. I was like, I'm on the fence on. It could be real. Maybe it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, as soon as I found out they dumped his body in the ocean, I'm like,
And then their
all
explanation,
right,
like
this
at
is
least
a publicity
at
stunt.
least talk to Hollywood or something, and yeah, best case scenario, they just didn't kill him and never found him and just used it as a thing.
Yeah.
Where I think they actually did is I think they actually killed him and he's like, we're gonna find out that he's that CIA guy.
Yeah, Tim Osmond.
Tim Osmond.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he
Check out our September 11th episode.
Yeah,
with Tim Osmond.
He didn't
That's
grow up
crazy.
in Sacramento.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly not.
With Osama bin Laden, they did war games with Osama bin Laden.
With him.
Like our own military, like,
He was our
practice
ally.
war games.
Yeah, he was our
a
ally.
friend. Like, it was, he's playing a role.
And then we're still friends with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
The whole.
my whole thing through that, like,
Who's behind September 11th?
the airplanes, like, the oil the jet fuel was so hot it melted all the
us?
steel and all that stuff, and then it's like they just pick up their passports on the sidewalk.
That makes sense.
Dick Cheney, Bush.
But okay.
Department of
They
Homeland
probably knew
Security.
about it, but I feel like there's an organization or something behind it. Like who? It's just the.
It's a powerful group of families that you'll never know their names because that's how powerful they are, and they've existed since the beginning of time. They rewrite our history.
Maybe the chick that wrote Twilight has it right.
What the heck? Look at our comment section. There is a user called Witness Protection that said, no, that wasn't actually a hoax. Publicity about it was propaganda. It wasn't a hoax.
9/11 wasn't?
Yeah.
That.
Witness Protection. Get off of this live stream.
Well, I like the opposing view.
No, you don't have to leave. We like it.
I actually
don't
like. What do you Witness Protection? I'd be curious what you think about. You think 9/11 is real? It's like, all right, the planes flying in seems like the least likely scenario now.
Yeah, we're not saying that it didn't happen. It really happened. Like planes were crashed into it.
Oh yeah.
The buildings fell.
I'm like, I almost don't know if planes were crashing.
Were the planes remote controlled? Did the towers coming down, were they just a demolition?
Yeah.
The oceanic flight that disappeared, like, just without a trace. Like, there's
too
so many
weird
things that are just weird.
Building 7, I'll never ever
Building
be able to
7
let
is
that
the
one
coup
go.
de grace.
Yeah.
Coup de grace. If Building 7 going down, no way it goes down.
That to me, the coup de grace is the hole this big in the side of the Pentagon, and they're like, yeah, the 747 went through that, and it's like the size of like a sedan.
Yeah,
in the wall, an
it's the size
entire airplane.
Well, I actually think it's exactly the size of a Tomahawk missile.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it is.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
There's
All
no
right.
airplane or anything. Yeah, that was crazy.
It's late. We're gonna be here forever.
Yeah. Okay, so let's. We're gonna have to cut maybe a few out here, but let me hold on. Let me find some good ones here. Let's do this one here, because this one's awesome. And then let's see if we can get the audio to work. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why the audio's not working in some of these clips of us talking on behind the video. So. But here, let's pull this one up here really quick, and I'm going to cue it up for us. So we've got it. Okay, and I think this is video H.
The moon map of Earth resonate with you? Well, it's about to resonate way more. There's this theory that the moon represents our Earth, and only 1/4 is our known Earth, and it moves around like the clock in Prague. As you can see, there's a constellation wheel. The sun and moon are both connected in the center of this. And honestly, what if this constellation wheel moves around in centuries of time around the entirety of Earth? I call this the 4/4 theory, like the 4 quarters in ancient cosmology and mythology. The 4 quarters of Earth that Enoch talks about. The 4 quarters in several Bible scriptures. And quarters definition is a fourth of something,
producer Mary
or
can confirm
a place
whether
in
or
which you
not
can dwell.
you
Which it's
hear us
weird
while
that
we're,
this is
the
literally
video's going.
1/4 of this, and it's the quarters in which we dwell. So is this moon projection that kind of
Christine
looks like
says
the
Philly
land
must be
from
thinking
Earth
about
enough
that Big
evidence for us to believe in something like this? Probably not, because really it doesn't match up perfectly. But I've got some evidence. In order for this theory to even be somewhat plausible, we need 3 things to be happening for sure. Number 1, the magnetic
turn the video
it's about time she fetches and watches.
It is.
Okay.
in the direction
Thank you,
that
Producer
it would
Mary.
need to be moving for this theory to be true. But wait, if the magnetic north and the magnetic field is moving northwest, north compared to what? That is the north. Wait, what if there's another north right here in the center? You know, the Mercator map has...
How's this dude with a
four
neck
quarters,
tattoo
four
smart enough to
rings,
understand what he's saying and I'm not?
Doesn't
I have a
that
college
sound like
degree.
Either way, we have two more major things for
Yeah, this one's
to be
pretty
even
deep,
plausible,
like,
and that is the
this is one
ice
you're gonna have to
in
go back and
Antarctica,
watch, like,
West
again.
Antarctica, to be exact,
I had to watch it a
should be
couple
melting,
times to, like,
and the ice
digest
in
it all.
He's touching on, like,
East
50
Antarctica
theories,
should be
too.
freezing, and it is. This is all melting, and this is all freezing, and has a higher elevation. Why? Well, because it's constantly
And he's
freezing
even getting
more,
into, like,
and the
temperature
lower
and all
because, like,
kinds of
the-
stuff.
as
Yeah.
the
now, also,
area
direct
is
sunlight
moving,
in Africa
the ice
should
in the
be
south is
increasing.
melting, and the
Sahara
ice in the
Desert
north
should
is
be
freezing
growing.
as our
South
entire thing
should
is
be-
shifting.
Exactly. Isn't that something?
Like that that
Yeah,
clock in Prague.
Oh,
How it
okay.
rotates.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And then the Sahara Desert is expanding and shrinking
Okay, fine,
to match
but
the ice.
South America should be increasingly freezing more. And it is. Yeah, that's right. It is. Here's what's cool, too. This explains silly climate change and ice ages, too. Not to mention finding strange animals and structures in the ice that's melting in Antarctica. Oh, the climate crisis. It's you and my's fault. What if they're just using this crisis to get some money, but then
How do I get some money from the climate crisis?
problem. You know, you're the one who's causing these emissions. No, come on.
Or been Al Gore.
Also, we are not having an energy crisis either. Think about the old world ships. This place was like an entire city that floated around.
Yeah, dude, he's touching on all kinds of stuff, dude. Tartaria, 0 point energy. Oh, man.
Throwing a price tag on it. But that's the thing. This theory, it brings all of the conspiracies kind of together. Makes it obvious of what they've been hiding. They throw stuff like this out there and this with zero evidence as to how this could even be. When all the while a model like this explains everything. Just think about it. So when they said Flat Earth was a psyop, maybe it kind of is. Maybe they're only giving us 1/4 of what we really need to be looking into. By the way, I don't use this moon projection as all of my evidence. No, I look at all of the other things that line this thing up for a home run.
Oh, man. This one's crazy. Yeah. I could say
I couldn't even follow it. I'm not smart enough for flat Earth. I got to stick with the round Earth.
Yeah, he's essentially saying that the images at the beginning, he's showing like the map of the UN that they have of their world. That if you turn it, the moon with the craters line up perfectly with our world, but then there's all this other like land that is on the moon that we don't know about.
So the moon's like reflecting
all of the like land,
the flat Earth,
but we only see a little bit of it.
Correct.
And so then he's saying that clock in Prague, it like rotates around.
the clock in Prague. We're just saying some person who knew about the flat
Yeah.
Earth, like an alien.
And so then
or
it goes like this around the entire everything, right? So right now there's all this land around here, but our world is right here. So as that like Prague clock moves, it moves around the continent. So what he was saying is, if that were true,
is the Prague clock the thing that moves? Is that the sun or?
That's like where we live. That's
Are
like
we moving?
Our entire
around.
No. We're like stationary, and then like the known world or the dome is moving around.
Oh.
So he's saying, as that's going, if that were true, then the ice wall, as we go,
mouse pad ever.
it's moving this way. So this ice down here would be melting, and this ice would be freezing. And then he showed that, like, yeah, that's true. That's what's happening at like the southern part. And then he talked about the Sahara Desert on the other side. It would be like getting
Expanding.
hot one direction, expanding, and then shrinking in the other direction. I don't know. It's wild. And so then he talks about like the magnetic pole was moving north. And it's like, well, how? It is like north. But if you match it with those old world maps, that there's this thing that's called black rock at the very center of our, like, the entire, like, everything, right? Everything is this big. We just know this big. So over here, there's a thing called black rock, and then 4 continents around it, and our thing turns like this over the years.
So how did those people that drew those old maps, did they just get invited to go there in an airship?
Well, I think it was known. It was known to the whole world back then.
Well, and there was that one guy, I can't remember his name. The Y-Files recently did an episode on it where he talks about this guy. They basically had like two ships, sailed down to Antarctica, made it through the ice wall, and was met by like these more technologically advanced ships, and they like invited them to his area and basically said like, hey, we haven't seen anybody come through your side for such a long time because we know on your side there's like evil dictators and they manipulate you guys into believing that you can't come. And anyways, this whole
and you control all the money and
reference
the
it.
resources. He even talks about it, like, yeah, all the money that's made off climate change, all the carbon tax that they're pushing, all the crap that they, like, if we really knew what was going on, like, we would live like much happier lives. If energy were free, we could tap into this stuff, but instead we're controlled, and we give
That's
all
true.
of
I mean,
our
if you have
money
free
and
power, you could
energy.
like set up all sorts of things for food. And,
Yeah, but it's all the amount of money that you can make off of fossil fuels. Unreal, dude.
Even on a small scope, I looked into getting solar for my house, and like the government, Lehigh, won't let me get enough to pay for all of my usage.
Yeah, our buddy, I won't say his name, Mr. Lucero, he bought like black market somehow from somebody else who had a much bigger house. So his panels are enough that he has all of his stuff free, plus he can charge his Tesla and everything else. Because they'll limit you on what you can actually buy, so you don't have enough. You just have a little bit.
I know, and he figures out how to do it. There's something about his culture.
Hard work.
They just know how to. They know how to get it done, dude.
Yeah,
because he's like, we just put the temperature at like 61 degrees or something all summer.
Yeah.
He's just like, it just grinds out. And I'm looking into it, and I'm like, well, why can't I only have that? Like, I don't know. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, well,
why is it that way?
But I use more energy than that. Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Well, I remember during COVID, you weren't allowed to buy more than like 2 gallons of milk or 1 gallon of milk, something like that. And I remember you having an argument with people, and like, my family is like,
that's like 16 minutes of milk.
X amount of kids, and like, I need, and it's like, no, you can't. Like, you can only have this much.
Yeah, it's like 2 gallons of milk, i.e., 1 meal.
And it's like,
yeah, seriously.
Like, why can't I
crazy.
buy what I need? Like, you determine what I need.
And the
That's
weird
not
part
fair.
is, like, who are the people doing that? And then you see the videos of those Karens that, like, drive the golf carts around their neighborhood. And those are the people deciding all this stuff. And you're like, and then they're somehow being used by, like, the people that blew up the Twin Towers. They're like all in cahoots somehow.
Yeah.
Like the Karen Alliance is mixed, not Karen with a Y. That's my wife. They're different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Very, very, very
But the
different.
Karens with an E have somehow gotten in touch with like P. Diddy, the Epstein crew,
the alien race,
Mossad, the tall aliens,
the Norwegians,
and they're all having meetings, about when you can
down.
Yeah, like first of all, we're gonna have you like be attracted to minors, and you can only put your waste bins out on this certain time frame.
Yeah.
And it's all in the same meeting.
Yeah, let's get into recycling. Like, what a scam that is.
Oh my gosh, dude! Do you know what I just found out?
And then they're gonna feed us.
This is
plastic.
true.
My Big Mac I'm gonna go eat is basically probably like 90% plastic.
It probably comes from my yard waste bin.
Yeah, and it's so good.
But listen to this: our yard waste bin has a different color, so that we only put yard waste in it, and our garbage can is for garbage.
Yeah.
Right.
Guess what? They don't separate them.
Yeah.
It's like a psyop that my freaking waste management people are running on me.
Are you for real?
Yeah, they just...
So they give you like a green one and a brown one, and then it goes the same place.
Goes to the exact
And they
same
just
place.
pick it up in the same truck.
Now, to be clear, we have a blue one that's for recycling. That is a separate, and it does go to a separate place.
Are you sure?
Yes,
But yeah, your yard one.
But this is from someone who works there. They're
Green,
like, oh yeah, yard
yellow
bin.
lid.
Yeah, yellow
It just
lid.
goes in the same.
Doesn't matter. So now we're just like trashing both of them. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Yeah, you're putting old apples and yard clipping in the thing.
Yeah, we're like
an idiot.
just like, and then a couple times like I'd be like have so much in my garbage can that I couldn't even barely get it to the curb, and I'm like I'd only have a half a bin of yard waste, and I'm just like, you jerks.
Yeah.
The whole time I could have just equaled it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
All right.
Okay, I've got one that we're gonna end with.
Okay.
That I thought was psycho. But hopefully, yeah, I don't think you guys have seen this one.
I'm a little hurt that you keep calling the video psycho, but
it is so crazy to me. Okay, all right, let me go ahead and pull it up here, and I'll cue it up for us too.
Watch this. What does this mean? What does this mean?
This is
Why would they put this for everybody to see? And it goes. This is
email.
going really fast. So I slowed it down a lot. So you can
Do you remember when they
actually see
first
all the
built it?
words
They
pop up.
put this message
Like,
out,
flash
and it's like
through there.
rotating.
Is that on the
again.
sphere?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know the sphere out in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is that sphere.
There's a video where some person went
could
and
this
put all
mean?
like the blue letters together, all the green letters together, all the white letters together. Like, it's crazy.
Antichrist? What the fudge?
Yeah, there's just like a ton of different words, like like racist, weasel, FOMO, crack.
Like they have this like speeding through. It's hard to catch all the words, so I slowed it down so you guys could all actually
This one
see
freaks me out.
all
This
the
one's
words.
just so weird to me.
It just baffles me that they would put this on something so big and significant where so many people see it.
Well, have you seen that
Just hug your
video
kids,
from?
man. Just
do you
hug your
remember
kids.
during like, I don't know, maybe the 19th? Do you remember? Well, here, have you seen? There's this video at like when
That one
TV
was really
used to
hard,
go
like,
like offline
catch.
for the night. They would play like the national anthem, and then the
This is a
TV
message that
station
they're
would
trying
like
to
go
put
down,
out to the world,
and it
to, like,
showed
everybody
like
that's out here?
the lyrics you could like sing to
It
the
just keeps going.
like national anthem or whatever, and they showed the like words that were up there as they would fade off. It's like there was hidden message in there, like believe the government, pay taxes, like all this stuff in the like words. And I totally think subliminal messaging is everywhere now, and we just don't even see it. Because like our subconscious picks up on all those words. Like we see them, it processes our brains. We just don't like recognize it. Like our prefrontal cortex doesn't like think about it, but the information is going into our heads.
Christine just commented and said it's like the crazy Justin Bieber music video.
Is it the one where he's like eating babies?
I don't know. We'll see what she says.
There's one that's like yummy or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. But this is the one that like I get the subliminal messaging part, right? And and it's everywhere.
Look it up.
Like I think it's probably in TV, it's definitely in video games. I see it all the time in video games. How there's all these agendas and they're trying to like mold your kids' thinking and all that stuff. But the weird thing to me is who's the person that put that message together and then threw it on to the circular dome and then let it play? Like, who has that kind of control and why?
Well, we've talked about this before, and I've always been fascinated with, like, if some of this stuff's true, like, take 9/11, like, coordinating that takes so many people, right?
Right.
And then it's like they're just a really good management company. Somehow they coordinate crazy, disparate groups of people into this thing. The only thing that makes sense to me, and it's interesting because if you've gone to the temple as an LDS person, you have Satan who promises that he's going to take all of the money in the whole world and all of the armies and navies, and he's going to fight against God.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that really makes sense to me. It's not like, I don't think that like on The Simpsons, I mean, there's probably some smaller groups that are like, you know, business networking groups that are also controlling people.
Yeah.
You know, what's the Simpsons one where they're like, they sing songs about controlling the world.
Oh yeah, he's in the Illuminati.
Yeah, the Illuminati.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think there's some stuff with Illuminati and stuff, but even then, like, I think that those groups all think they're probably doing the right thing, right? Even if we think they're evil, they aren't doing it. It's maybe some of them are, but a lot of them are just like, we're going to make the world better by reducing the population by 75%.
Yeah.
You know, they think it's a good thing.
Scary,
but
dude.
then even those groups then are being influenced by this really good tactician, intelligent being named Lucifer.
Yeah.
That literally is making yes, no, and
Well,
no,
you think about like Lost, right? You have Jacob and then the man in black.
Yeah.
Who are like controlling
Yes.
the island, and there's this game going back and forth
need to
between
watch
the
that
two
again.
of them. Well, if you look at like our flat Earth thing that we live on, if they don't age and they're gonna live forever, time only exists in
Who's
like
they?
this world. Satan and the devil.
Oh, yeah.
Or Satan and Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry, I only recognize one of them. So you're going to live forever, and then, you're going to say, like, with armies and nations, and I'm going to buy power and war and all of this. And then God or Jesus is on the other side, like, I'm going to, like, teach people to be good and kind and all this stuff. But, like, boy, it sure feels like one side is winning with all the power and the information that's controlled and like, I mean, think about how many hours a week we spend away from our family doing stuff that doesn't matter really in the grand scheme of things.
Did you hear? I'm sorry that I just have to say this one too, but it reminds me of what we used to do for a living, and Fielding still does. That girl who worked for I don't want to say the wrong company and get them, but they're already all over the thing. But it was like an accounting firm in California. Did you hear about this? It wasn't Goldman Sachs, but it was one of those, like a big accounting finance firm, and they just had these really high expectations. Apparently, she's 26 years old, and she just died working. She's just working, like 100 hours a week. Yeah, and apparently it's pretty normal. She's like, I can't get this work done. They're like, well, you just do it at home then. You just, and just grow up and just, and there's a culture, and it killed her. And you're like, the craziest part was 0 people went to her funeral from that she worked with. Yeah. And so it's like,
dang, man.
You're right,
That's
Philly.
cold as
You're
ice.
right. Where we are, we're like, let's go to work. Let's be away from our family. And let's not go to this little football game of my kid. And so that we can go and work.
Yeah.
Why? So I can then go to work.
Yeah. And we're doing it with children blood, adrenochrome. It's hard
if
for
we
us.
had adrenochrome, we'd probably do better.
Yeah, we could just work 1,000,000 hours a week and be fine, look great, look young.
I've thought about getting some Adderall, but they call it Dadderall.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just speed up.
Yeah. I remember you telling me years ago that's taking an energy drink at work. You're like, nah, you got to drink that when you go home. That's what matters.
Yeah. You drink it at
not the crap we do here.
3 or 4.
You drink it when you're going home.
Yeah. Yeah. You just
your family energized.
Wise words.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, good episode for me to I'm pondering on some of this stuff because I'm in this weird crisis of just how do you even know what's true? And I know the answer, but you get lost sometimes, and it's you really got to be grounded. Look at your kids; they know the truth. You know what I mean? Kids know. Yeah. And then read the scriptures, say your prayers, follow the prophet. I need to work out more. I think working out is actually key. I was talking to my friend about this. There's something about it that's truth.
Yeah.
There's a self-discovery there. I'm not following my own advice right now, but
that's fine.
Very well.
Yeah.
Anyway, good to see you guys.
Yeah. Another fun episode in the books. I do like jumping through all these TikTok videos. Hopefully it's just as entertaining for you guys as it is for us, because we could watch TikTok videos and go down the rabbit hole all day.
Fielding wanted to do a TikTok dance, but we vetoed him.
Yeah.
I don't.
I've been practicing.
He's like,
yeah. One of those.
That might be a little bit of the Macarena, but
yeah, that's fine.
Hey, Macarena.
That's fine. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, you guys. Appreciate you guys joining us. I loved all the comments. Our witness protection guy jumped out of the video. I was kind of grateful and sad at the same time. Now, a couple things that you have to do that always help us out. One, and most important, is like, subscribe, share this video, share it to the masses. We love doing this. We want to keep coming with more content. We're gonna, no matter what, but it'd be cool to, like, you know, I don't know. I want to fly out to the Denver airport. That's an episode I want to do so bad.
1,000 subscribers is what was it?
Yeah, once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're gonna fly out to
I want to go
Denver.
to all the conspiracies on the Hawaiian Islands.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know any of them right
Bora
now.
Bora. I hear there's a lot in Bora Bora.
Well, there's one cave there that has a tiki
Oh, you're being
idol
serious.
in it.
I just was like, I was just thinking of places I want to travel.
No, that's what I was saying too.
Oh.
I don't know any. I just know that there's one. There's a cave there and has a cursed tiki idol in it.
Yeah, you gonna go touch it?
I've seen a documentary on it. It is called The Brady Bunch. I don't know if you've seen that episode. It's perhaps the most racist television in the history of the world. But
The Brady Bunch?
No, the Brady Bunch go to Hawaii, and in Hawaii, they encounter a cursed idol from the Polynesian cultures, and they have all sorts of hijinks from it. But when you rewatch it, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Now, this is a little cringeworthy. Well, like, subscribe, like I said. Check out our website, conthedot.com. You can not only get on to all of our social media there, you can learn information about us, but you can also check out our merch. We got some of our mugs here that we've been drinking out of today. We've got these mugs.
It did taste better.
It did. I don't know how, but yeah, it definitely tastes better in these instead of the can.
This is my chakra.
Yeah, third eye chakra right there, dude.
Carefully.
But also we've got we've got shirts, we've got apparel, bags, stickers, you name it. Go in there and get some cool merch. We got some cool t-shirts and stuff that I think you guys would like a lot. And then other than that, the most important thing is don't forget, you're a champion. You right there. We appreciate you guys. Love you guys, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. And then I have to hit the outro button. This is behind the scenes. No one's actually hearing this. Where's my outro button? Wait for it. I'm just going to have to do this the good old-fashioned way. Whoops.
We've developed several ciphers. Murdered in Dallas, Texas. He was shot by a sniper hiding in a building near his...
A bizarre flash occurs.
Houston. Vector good. Bye-bye.